We recognise that this guide has its origin in English, the language of the colonising nation. We acknowledge the Anglo-supremacy of the sector as part of this colonity. This guide aims to support people who have to work and communicate in the English language as part of this colonial legacy. However, we recognise that the dominance of English is one of the key issues that must be addressed in order to decolonise our ways of working and shift power." End quote. Now, Kel, aside from the obvious that these guys could just go and learn another language and stop talking in English if they really wanted to, colonisation seems to be a pretty cynical way to summarise one of the greatest languages ever created. Would you agree?
Well, that quote came from Oxfam, who were apologising to the people they were helping because they were talking to them in English and communicating. But the problem is there's no language which is pure in that sense. What do you switch to? Do you switch to Latin? Oh, no, there was a Roman Empire that covered a whole lot of the known world. So Latin is a colonising language. French? Oh, no, the French had colonies. German? Oh, no, Germany had lots of colonies. The Dutch had a huge global colony at one stage, so did the Spanish, so did the Portuguese. We're running out of languages. And I rather jokingly suggested to someone once on my website, we could try Lithuanian. And he wrote back and said, oh, no, they've got a bad history of invading their neighbours. So there is the idea that somehow history pollutes a language. I mean, you're making fun of it because it's nonsense, and it is absolute nonsense.
Yes, well, it's a bit of a worry that they actually think this way, but then do absolutely nothing about it. They haven't solved their own problem by going and learning other languages. So it's a pretty astonishing state that this is actually what's happening in the world out there. And this is how language is being treated, which is a very sad reflection of our lack of education. But look, Kel...
We need to rally around and defend English, Alexander. We need to do that. It needs to be defended. It's a great language, the language of Shakespeare, and we need to rally around and defend it.
We're the trade language, very important in a world with commerce.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining us, Kel Richards. It's an absolute pleasure, and you can follow all of his work in the Spectator magazine every week. Thank you, Kel.
Thanks a lot.